Hello everyone, Steven here from Adolescence, and welcome back to another fragrance review. This time we'll be taking a look at a fragrance by the United Colors of Benetton, and it's called Cold. Here's the bottle. It was released in 1997, and unfortunately they have not made a perfumer available for this fragrance. Now, the United Colors of Benetton is an Italian fashion luxury house. It's very popular in other parts of Europe. It's also become very popular in the United States. Now, this is the original Cold that I'm reviewing. They do have a few different versions of it. They have Cold Silver. They also have one called Hot, which actually has the same exact bottle design except with different colors. So just make sure if you do look to purchase this fragrance, make sure you're buying the original Cold, not any of the other flankers. Now, the United Colors of Benetton has up to 49 different fragrances in their database right now, so they have been making fragrances for a long time. They work in association with Selective Beauty. Now, this is an aromatic fougere fragrance, which means that it features a prominent note of lavender. So if you're not a fan of lavender, make sure you stay away from this fragrance. Next up, we have the presentation. As far as the box goes, this is pretty much it. Just a very flimsy cardboard. There's really not much to it. It serves no protection for the bottle whatsoever. Name of the fragrance, name of the house, UPC code at the bottom, and then here's the price tag and how much I paid for it. Kind of upset because I could have gotten it for much cheaper online. But that's pretty much it for the box. As far as the bottle goes, pretty cool looking bottle. Some people might say that it's kitschy. You have Cold, and which is symbolic of the spraying apparatus up here at the top. This is the atomizer. Actually, you have to turn it counterclockwise to activate it, and then it's locked when you turn it so that its face is forward. It is a cross handle, which resembles the ones that you would find on like a wall hydrant. The atomizer works very well. The distribution is excellent, sprays out a lot of juice relative to the concentration. United Colors of Benetton here in the front, and then you have a sticker at the bottom with all of the rest of your pertinent information. And that was the presentation for Cold. Cold opens up with a very deceptive introduction. You do have the listed note of bergamot, and you do get a little bit of citrus in the opening with some added effervescence to it. Now, it opens up with bergamot. To me, it smells more like lemon, and I think that's coming from the geranium. Now, you not only get that lemony overtone, but you also get some aldehydes which are thrown into the mix, which are used in Chanel's No. 5, and they also give this sparkling, effervescent, almost carbonated feel to the composition. Now, that does evaporate and etherealize rather quickly, and after it recedes to the background, some spices start to come out. You get a prominent musk note that comes out. You also get a very sharp lavender that comes out. Now, the sharpness of the lavender is contrasted by the dullness of the musk, but we'll talk a little bit about that in more detail later on. In the opening, it smells lemony because of this geranium note that it contains. Now, it doesn't actually contain natural geranium. It is a synthetic composition. What it does contain is geraniol, which is an alcohol, and monoterpenoid, which is found in small quantities in geranium, but also in lemon oil, which is why this fragrance has a rosy smell. It has a bit of a sweetness to it, and it also has a lemony overtone. So despite the fact that bergamot is listed as a note in this fragrance, I really get more lemon than anything, but it is a very synthetic citrus that you get in the opening. Fortunately, the aldehydes used in this fragrance are not so heavily concentrated that they come across smelling powdery and evocative of an old woman's perfume, but the sharpness of the lavender does give this fragrance that aromatic fougere, barbershop kind of quality to it, and it does give it a rather dated smell, which is the one thing that I don't like about this fragrance. It doesn't smell modern. It doesn't really smell contemporary. You do have a sweetness that comes through in the base of the composition, despite the fact that it contains vetiver and patchouli, which tend to be very rough and earthy, herbal, aggressive notes. It doesn't really have that quality to it. I think the musk really serves to clean things up, but despite that, it still smells like a rather dated fragrance, which is why it doesn't cater to my personal taste all that well. Now, the citrus dies out. You do get this clean musk, which is rather dull, like I said, and the sharpness of the lavender persists for about 2 to 3 hours, and then you're left with this sweet, clean base with some spices thrown into the mix. Now, the spices listed in this note are coriander and caraway. I think the coriander might be a little bit more prominent because I know some people say caraway has a very culinary smell to it. Some people compare it to the smell of body odor. I don't get any of that from this fragrance. Again, the musk makes it smell rather clean and not sharp at all. It's really the lavender doing all of the sharpness. But in the end, I think that this is a pleasant smell. Nobody's going to tell you that you smell bad, but I do think it smells a little bit dated, so for that reason it doesn't complement my personal taste. In terms of compliments or complaints, I don't think that this one is a real standout. I don't think you're gonna get too many positive comments wearing this fragrance. I think people will acknowledge the fact that you're wearing a fragrance or a cologne or an eau de toilette. I just don't think that they will be compelled to come up to you and compliment you. Personally, I have not received a compliment wearing this fragrance. Thank you for watching. Last up, we have the rating. First up, we have uniqueness and overall smell, and I ended up giving this fragrance a 5 out of 10. I don't like the sharpness of the lavender. I do think it's very synthetic, and despite the fact that the aldehydes weren't too prominent, that aromatic fougere quality about it does make it smell like a dated fragrance. It was released in 1997 and it smells like it. Next up, we have longevity. I ended up giving this fragrance a 4 out of 10. Now, longevity is 3 to 6 hours, and at about the 5-hour mark, it starts to sit very close to the skin. You could smell it hours later, but once it becomes a skin scent, there's really no point to it. Next up, we have projection. I ended up giving this a 7 out of 10. Projection is actually very good for the first 2 to 2.5 hours. After that, it does recede a little bit to the background, and it doesn't become as noticeable, but you can still notice somebody, and it does project beyond an arm's length, which is very good, but like I said, for only the first 2 to 2.5 hours. Next up, we have versatility. I actually gave this one an 8 out of 10. Versatility for this fragrance is very good. I don't think that this is a unisex fragrance. It does come across rather masculine. I think that this would work very well in all seasons, despite the performance issue in some seasons. I think that this would work well in a wide variety of social scenarios. I just probably wouldn't wear this one on a night out because it doesn't have too much of that sweetness to make it a good contender. I think it could be worn casually because it's so cheap that you can afford to wear it casually, and I think you can wear this one in a shirt and tie or a suit and tie because it does have a mature quality to it. Last up, we have presentation. The box is probably the worst I've seen. At least it does come with a box. The bottle is kind of cool. I ended up giving it a 7 out of 10 for presentation. Overall, I'm going to give this fragrance a 4 out of 10. I think the bottle's kind of cool, the versatility is excellent, the projection is above average, but if you don't like the smell, everything else just becomes irrelevant. So there you have it. That was my review of Cold by Benetton. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe for future videos and frequent giveaways. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot me a message, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Steven with another fragrance review from Radolescence. See you soon.